How much are funeral costs rising? With funeral costs rising far in excess of the annual rate of inflation, it is an unfortunate fact that for many families, budgeting for a funeral by traditional means may no longer be sufficient to cover the cost. In 1991, the average funeral cost £820. Funeral costs have risen by 88% over the last 10 years across the UK. If this trend continues, the average funeral will cost £6,801 in 2024. According to the Sun Life Cost of Dying Report 2013, average funeral costs have risen from £1,230 in 1997 to £4,000 today, and that's an increase of over 225%. Conservative estimates suggest that by 2024, a funeral will cost on average between £7,000 and £8,000. With a funeral plan in place, no matter how long you live for, or however expensive a funeral is when you pass away, there will always be sufficient funds to cover all the funeral director's fees and services. So why not just keep the funds in a savings account? If £4,000 was invested today in a typical savings account returning 1.6%, in 2021 there would be a shortfall of £1,676. In 2029 there would be a shortfall of £5,364. If your estate is above the inheritance tax threshold, setting up a funeral plan will reduce your liability. Some people are of the view that their estate is more than capable of paying for their funeral. But when this is examined, the bulk of the assets are tied up in property. This can cause a problem. Does the family put the funeral on hold until they have sold the property, which is highly inappropriate? Therefore, they would have to find the funds from their own resources or borrow the funds. This could cause stress and tensions within the family. But what if you are the first of a couple to pass away? The property cannot be sold, as it's required for the surviving spouse or partner, and any cash would most probably be required by them. Having a funeral plan in place alleviates these issues. Whilst the financial benefits are clear to see, we find that one of the main reasons our clients choose to set up a funeral plan is to make their passing easier for their family at a very stressful time. We have many clients where the financial aspect is the least important part, but the knowledge that they've taken the stress from their family is key. Let's look at the main points to consider. Does the plan include disbursements? We have plans that include and exclude disbursements. Disbursements are the obligatory fees that are outside of the funeral director's control, such as cremation or interment fees, doctor's fees, and minister's fees. Should you choose a plan without disbursements included, your family will have to pay these fees, around £1,100 at the time of the funeral. How a funeral plan is made up. In this example, the plan including disbursements. In this example, the disbursements would have to be paid by the family at the time of the funeral. We have plans that include and exclude disbursements. It is very important to recognize whether a plan includes disbursements when comparing plans. Plans that may appear good value may not be when you realize that the family will have to pay these costs, compared to one where they are included. Do you require limousines? This would usually depend on the size of your family. Bear in mind that your family, in discussion with the funeral director, can always add extra limousines, which they would pay for separately. Our comparison guide groups plans according to the number of limousines. Another point to consider is the number of pallbearers. Most plans provide 2 pallbearers with members of the family assisting. Again, should extra pallbearers be required, this can be arranged with the funeral director, or 4 pallbearers can be included in the plan. Plans listed are for cremation. If burial is required, this can be arranged. The main issue here is the cost of a burial plot. If you already own a plot, there is usually no extra charge. However, if a plot has to be purchased, this is extra and costs dramatically more depending on the location. We can obtain these figures for you. Specifying a particular funeral director. Whilst you can nominate a specific funeral director with all plans, not all guarantee that the funeral will be with that particular funeral director. Hopefully, the funeral will be many years ahead. It is possible that your nominated funeral director is no longer trading, or they've been taken over by a large multinational, but have kept the local name. With all the plans, we list only funeral directors who satisfy the high standards of the plan provider are used. So, is your money safe? With all the plans, the funds are kept in an independent trust, administered by independent trustees, details of which will be provided by the chosen provider. So even if the plan provider ceased trading, your funds would be safe. There are a number of payment options, from paying all at the start to interest-free options, to payment plans up to 120 months. Please see the website for details. Estate planning. Setting up your funeral plan is only part of your estate planning. Please view our videos covering wills, will trusts, lasting powers of attorneys, and freestanding trust. When you purchase a funeral plan through us, we will give you a 50% discount on our estate planning products. Should you already have all of your planning in place, this offer could be transferable to another member of your family. Does your son or daughter have a will in place? If you take advantage of this offer to set up your estate planning with us, but another family member requires estate planning, we will offer a 25% discount to them, and this has to be taken within 3 months of purchasing the plan.